When did you realize that you were taking too much risk by investing in just one thing? As soon as I got the chance, I took it. The first time I invested specifically in real estate. It was commercial real estate. A huge building, a skyscraper. How did I come up with that? I looked at the careers of some sportsmen and I realized I don't want to end up like them. That's why I started with this. I invested 5 million. 5 million. And I started getting $50,000 a month. Every month on the 18th. I was fine with that. Every month my account started to get a steady income. So you're aiming for passive income? Yeah, for many years now. And I thought, okay, if it's so profitable, why not invest in 8-figure sum? And then I changed my mind and made a 9-figure investment. That's it. I love talking about money. I love it. Some people say that money doesn't matter, and I reply because you have it. That's exactly why money matters. Money gives you the ability to buy food to live. You need money to live. But I do try to build a fortune with perspective. What kind of investments are you considering today, Floyd? Do you just follow your gut, or you analyze, or you just invest in something you like? If I know that it's going to pay off, that it's profitable and reliable, I do invest. I'm not afraid to roll the dice, to try my luck. We live only once. Also, my friends, we have prepared for you the main secret to success from Cardon. I was 23. I was living in an apartment in Lake Charles, Louisiana, in this tiny duplex. I occupied half of this little house. I had my dog living with me. I don't know what I was thinking about when I got the dog. I could hardly feed myself. One rainy evening, my friend Danny came to see me. Danny. And he brought me drugs. The day before, I decided to quit it. But it was 11 p.m. and another attempt to quit failed. The 10th one. Danny was leaving, but I didn't know that he was planning to rob and beat me. And as I was walking Danny out, the door opened and a huge man walked in. He pulled out a .45 caliber pistol and pointed it in my face. Right here. I had a plate with some food in my hand. I was eating when Danny was about to leave. And this big guy, and he was about this tall, leaned over me, pointing a gun at my face. I reacted by hitting him right in the face with the plate. The plate shattered into pieces. Although it was one of those unbreakable plates, and I smashed it into the guy's face with all of my might. After that, he turned into a monster. Can you see this scar on my forehead? He took the gun and hit me between the eyes with it, right here. At that moment, my life changed. I'd almost been in that kind of trouble before. The way I lived my life taught me those lessons. I knew that, but this incident drew the final line. I realized I turned from a good guy into someone who was on the verge of death. He hit me here, then over my eyes and under my eyes. Then he disabled my arms. He hit me with his gun right on my elbows, so my arms were dangling. Seriously, I could not move them. Blood was dripping down my face. There was blood on every wall of the room, even the ceiling. They turned the house upside down, took the pittance I had, and left me bleeding. My Doberman was in another room. He was locked in another room. This had been planned in advance. That's what happens when you hang out with bad company. Sooner or later, you have to suffer the consequences. I ended up in the hospital. My girlfriend came back to the apartment and immediately took me to the hospital. I spent 3 days there. At the hospital, I got 70 stitches. My whole face was covered with stitches. The police came to see me. They realized there was something wrong. And I said, "It's okay, I'm going home." Covered with stitches, I went to my mother's place. I approached out little brick house, which I had it at the time. I walked up to the back door and knocked. Just imagine. My face was all swollen and bruised, and my mother didn't recognize me. What? What? Where's my son? Mom, I am your son. Where is my son? No one could recognize me. I was beaten so badly. I entered the house. My mother put me on the couch. But in the hospital, they forbade me to sleep, as I could die in my sleep. I was taken to the hospital again and I stayed there for 3 days. As soon as I got there, I decided that's it, no more drugs. Really, I didn't recognize myself in the mirror. No more drugs, I'm quitting. And guess what happened? Not even 15 minutes later, I took another dose. And all the time I was taking drugs 10 times a day, right in the hospital. I was sure that this time I'd quit for good. But for another 2 years, I did drugs every day. Every single day, I couldn't quit. Anyone who starts taking drugs is sure that they are not going to become an addict. I was no exception. But at one point, drugs suddenly began to control me. My mother. When I was 25. My mom said to me, "Don't come to my place anymore. And don't come to my work. I don't want to see you anymore." That was the day my life changed. A day later, I was already in a rehabilitation center. Thanks to my mother, who said, "That's enough, I'm washing my hands of it." To be honest, by that point almost everyone had given up on me. My older brother died when I was 20, so 5 years before that my brother had died. He was worried about me. So what's the story? When I was 10, my dad died. When I was 20, my brother died. I also buried my dream of becoming a professional baseball player. I gave it up for drugs. By that point, I'd been fired from 5 or 6 jobs. I was a loser, a total loser. But somewhere inside me, there was still a light that said, "You're special." There was something inside me that said, "You're special. There is something about you. It's just hidden behind your problems, drugs, your bad friends and bad decisions." After my mom said, "Enough, don't come here again." And I know she had a hard time with those words. So I went straight to rehab. I stayed in rehab for 3 days. It was the first month in 8 or 9 years. It was the first month I was drug-free in the last 8-9 years. Wow! It turned out you could do without them. Before that, I could have said 10 times a day, "That's it, I'm quitting." And finally, I really did it. They discharged me from the rehab center when my insurance expired. That's how it works. You ran out of money, you get kicked out on the street. I was terrified. I was scared to go back into society. All my friends were taking drugs. My girlfriend was taking drugs. Everyone around me was doing drugs. I went back to work, and even at work they took drugs. So I had to go back into society, and I had to stop hanging out with all my friends. Well, not really friends. I had to stop hanging out with my enemies too. I had to start all over again. And before I left the center, the head doctor had told me, "Well, see you next time. If by that time you don't up 1 dose, of course." I replied, "What are you talking about? I'm never gonna get in here again." And he said, "Come on, you'll be back." And he gave me this lecture on "You won't get anywhere. When you go to rehab, you tell them everything about yourself. You reveal all your secrets. You tell them your weaknesses. You also tell them what you'd like to do." And so I told them everything. All my mistakes, all my failures. But I also shared with them what inspired me and what I wanted to do. I wanted to write books, to speak in public, to help people, to tell them about the harms of drugs. "I will definitely achieve something," I told them. But they answered me, no, dude, you're just an addict. And the only one you'll always be? That's what the head doctor was saying. You will be a junkie. Forget your dreams about books, public speaking, wealth. I've always dreamed of being rich all of my life. I wanted to be like my father, to be able to support my family. But I was told, forget about that and just focus on one thing, not taking drugs. If there comes a day when you don't do drugs, it'll be a great day, Grant. Success is not something that happens to you. It's what happens because of you and because of the actions that you've taken. Dear friends, thanks for watching. Don't forget that we also have our Telegram channel, which is located in the description under the video. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and of course like this video. Make money.